Hey there, travelers. Before we dive into today's story, drop a comment below telling us where you're tuning in from. Now let's begin our journey into the unknown. They say monsters hide in the shadows. They're wrong. Tonight, on Halloween, I walk down Main Street in Salem, Massachusetts. Wings folded beneath my coat, talons tucked into leather gloves, and nobody screams. Nobody runs. A woman in a witch costume compliments my makeup. A drunk college kid asks to take a selfie with me. I oblige, grinning with teeth that could tear through steel, and he uploads it to his social media with the caption, "Sick costume, bro." If only they knew. I've walked this earth for 4,000 years. I watched the pyramids rise. I saw Rome burn. I was there when they built Babylon, back when humans still remembered that things like me existed, when they carved warnings into stone and left offerings at crossroads to keep us away. But time has a way of eroding truth into myth, and myth into entertainment. Now I'm just another guy in a costume, another Halloween decoration come to life. This is the only night I get to be myself. 364 days of hiding in basements and abandoned buildings, moving only in darkness, feeding on rats and pigeons in alleyways. But tonight? Tonight I can spread my wings. 10 feet of leathery membrane that catch the October wind. And people just assume it's elaborate engineering. Tonight I can show my true face, ash-gray skin, eyes that glow like coals, features sharp and predatory, and they applaud the craftsmanship. The air smells like candy corn and rotting leaves. Jack-o'-lanterns flicker on every porch, their carved faces mocking and cheerful. Children run past me in capes and masks, plastic swords held high, laughter echoing off colonial houses that were old when I first arrived in America. I watch them with something that might be longing. I was young once, in a world so ancient that even its ruins have turned to dust. I developed rules over the centuries. Had to. Or I'd lose what little humanity I've scraped together from watching your kind. Rule 1. Never harm a child. Not ever. Not for any reason. I've seen too much suffering in this world, caused too much of it myself in younger, hungrier days. But children? They're innocent. They still believe in magic and monsters and happily ever afters. I won't be the one to teach them differently. The clock tower chimes 7, prime trick-or-treating hour. I drift through the crowds, just another face among hundreds. A teenager dressed as a zombie bumps into me, mutters an apology. A mother pushing a stroller stops to admire my prosthetics. I nod politely, my voice a low rumble that I've learned to soften. Thank you. Took years to perfect. If only she knew how literal that statement was. I'm heading toward the residential streets when I hear it. Cruel laughter with that particular edge that makes my jaw tighten. I've heard that sound in every era, every language. The sound of predators circling prey. I round the corner and see them. 4 children, maybe 10 or 11 years old, dressed in expensive store-bought costumes. A ninja, a superhero, a vampire with plastic fangs. They've surrounded a smaller boy who's backed against a brick wall, clutching a cardboard shield that's already dented and torn. His costume is homemade, aluminum foil wrapped around cardboard tubes for armor, a painted wooden sword, a cape made from what looks like an old bedsheet. Nice costume, poor boy, the ninja sneers and the others laugh. Did you make it out of garbage? The boy, dark hair, maybe 9 years old, eyes shining with tears he's fighting not to shed. Says nothing, just holds his shield tighter. What are you supposed to be anyway? The vampire asks, circling. A homeless knight? More laughter. The superhero reaches out and rips the cape, tearing it halfway off. The boy flinches but doesn't run. There's dignity in that, a refusal to show fear even when surrounded. I recognize that look. I wore it once, millennia ago, when I was something other than what I am now. That's enough. My voice cuts through their laughter. They turn, and for a moment, just a heartbeat, they see what I really am. Not the costume, not the makeup. Me. 4,000 years of existence distilled into a single predatory stare. The ninja's smile falters. The vampire takes a step back. He's with me, I say, extending a hand toward the boy. And I think you all have somewhere else to be. They scatter. I watch them go, resisting the urge to follow, to teach them what real fear tastes like. but I've worked too hard on my self-control to throw it away on entitled children who don't know better yet. The boy is staring at me now, shield lowered, eyes wide. Not with fear, with wonder. "That was amazing," he breathes. "They always do that. They always pick on me because..." He stops, looking down at his damaged costume. "Because I'm poor. Because my mom works 2 jobs and I didn't want her to spend money on a costume, so I made this myself and it looks stupid and..." It doesn't look stupid. I kneel down, carefully, always carefully, because this close he might notice the joints in my legs bend the wrong way. Might see the way my coat shifts over wings that never quite fold properly. "It looks brave. You made something from nothing. You created. That's more impressive than anything money can buy." He looks up at me, really seeing me for the first time. Studies my face, the texture of my skin that's just a bit too smooth, too gray. The eyes that reflect light like an animal's. "Your costume is incredible. The contacts, the makeup. How did you do the wings? Are they motorized?" I smile, showing too many teeth. Too many. "Old family secret. Been perfecting it for years." "I'm Johnny," he says, offering a small hand. "Johnny Locke." I take it gently, feeling how fragile human bones are, how easily they could snap. "You can call me..." I pause. I haven't used my true name since Babylon fell. "You can call me friend." Johnny's eyes light up. "Are you trick-or-treating too? I mean, I know you're probably too old, but..." "I'm definitely too old," I say. And it's not a lie. But I enjoy the walk, the atmosphere. It's the one night a year when everyone gets to be something they're not. Or something they are, I think, but don't say. Johnny hesitates, then asks, Would you want to walk with me for a bit? I know my costume is lame, but those kids always steal my candy, and if you're there, maybe they won't..." He stops, embarrassed. "Sorry, that's stupid. You probably have somewhere to be." I should say yes. I should leave him here, safe and alone, and disappear back into the shadows where I belong. That's the smart choice, the safe choice. Instead, I stand and gesture down the street. "I'd be honored to accompany you, Sir Knight. Every warrior needs a companion on their quest." The smile that breaks across his face is like sunrise after centuries of darkness. We walk together through the Halloween streets, and I discover something I'd forgotten: the simple joy of companionship. Johnny talks about school, about his mom who's a waitress at 2 different diners, about how he wants to be an artist when he grows up. He shows me the houses with the best decorations, points out his favorites in a running commentary that would be annoying from anyone else but somehow isn't from him. "That one gives out full-size candy bars," he whispers conspiratorially, pointing at a Victorian house draped in cotton cobwebs. "But you have to do a trick first." Last year I recited a poem and got 3 Snickers. I watch him knock on doors, his damaged cape flapping behind him, his cardboard armor catching the streetlight. Most people compliment his costume. Some, the ones with kinder eyes, compliment his creativity. He beams each time, his earlier humiliation forgotten. We pass a house where someone has set up an elaborate graveyard display. Foam headstones rise from the lawn, plastic skeletons claw their way up from the dirt, and a fog machine pumps artificial mist across the scene. Johnny stops, mesmerized. "Do you think ghosts are real?" he asks suddenly. I consider the question. "What do you think?" He chews his lip, thinking. I think maybe there's more to the world than what we can see." My mom says my dad is watching over us. He died when I was little. I don't remember him much, but sometimes I feel like someone's there. You know? I do know. I've felt presences that linger, echoes of souls that refuse to move on, but I don't tell Johnny this. Instead, I say, "I think your father would be very proud of you. You're kind, you're creative. You don't let cruelty make you cruel. That's rare." Johnny blinks rapidly, and I realize he's fighting tears again. "But these are different from before." "Thanks," he says quietly. "That means a lot." We continue walking. At one house, an elderly woman in a witch hat insists Johnny perform a magic trick before she'll give him candy. He doesn't know any magic tricks, so I whisper a suggestion. He pretends to pull a coin from behind her ear, a coin I slip into his palm when he's not looking. The woman claps in delight and gives him a handful of chocolates. "You're really good at this," Johnny says as we leave. "Have you been doing Halloween for a long time?" "Longer than you can imagine," I say truthfully. At another house, a man dressed as a pirate challenges Johnny to a duel. They fence with plastic swords while his children cheer from the porch. Johnny throws himself into the performance, laughing and parrying, and for those few minutes, he's not the bullied kid with the homemade costume. He's just a boy having fun. I stand back and watch, and something twists in my chest. This feeling, I haven't felt it in so long I almost don't recognize it. Contentment. Not happiness exactly, but something close. The pleasure of seeing someone else's joy. By 9:30, we've covered 6 blocks. Johnny's bag is getting heavy, and I offer to carry it for him. He hands it over gratefully, then immediately regrets it. "Wait, you should have some," he says, digging through the bag. "Here." He pulls out a chocolate bar and presses it into my hand. I stare at it. When was the last time someone gave me something? Not as payment or appeasement or out of fear, but simply because they wanted to share. "Thank you," I say quietly, and I mean it more than he could possibly know. We find a bench near the common and sit. Johnny dumps out his remaining candy, sorting it into piles. I unwrap the chocolate bar he gave me, letting it melt on my tongue. It tastes different than I remember. Sweeter. Richer. Or maybe everything tastes better when given freely. "This has been the best Halloween ever," Johnny says, not looking at me. Usually I just rush through, grab candy as fast as I can, and run home before those kids find me. But tonight, he grins. Tonight, I felt brave. Like a real knight. Something warm stirs in my chest. "You are brave," I tell him. Bravery isn't not being scared. It's being scared and doing it anyway. You face those bullies every day. You made your costume even knowing they'd mock it. That's true courage. Johnny processes this, then nods slowly. I never thought of it that way. We sit in comfortable silence, watching families walk past. A father carries a sleeping toddler dressed as a pumpkin. 2 teenagers compare candy hauls. A group of college students stumble by, already drunk, laughing too loud. Then I remember something. Reach into my coat, carefully so he doesn't see the way it parts over my wings, and pull out a small object wrapped in cloth. "I want you to have something," I say. "A gift for being such good company." Johnny's eyes widen as I unwrap the cloth, revealing the mask beneath. It's wooden, ancient, carved with a skill that doesn't exist anymore. The face is demonic, horns curling back, teeth bared in a permanent snarl, eyes hollow and deep. The wood is dark with age, smooth from centuries of handling. Symbols are carved into the edges, protection runes from a language older than Sanskrit. "Whoa," Johnny breathes. That's incredible. Is it real?" "Very real," I say. "I got it a long time ago. From Babylon, actually. It belonged to..." I pause, remembering. "It belonged to the ugliest demon I ever met. And trust me, I've met a lot of demons." I say it jokingly, but there's truth in it. The demon who wore this mask was a creature of pure malice, ancient even when I was young. We fought for 3 days and 3 nights in the shadow of the Tower of Babel. When I finally won, I took his mask as a trophy. The irony isn't lost on me. That demon would have been horrified to know his mask would one day protect a child. The mask has magic in it. Small magic. Fading magic. But magic nonetheless. Temporary glamour. Anyone who wears it will appear fearsome, impressive, transformed. The effect only lasts 1 night, maybe 2. But for a boy who needs to feel powerful, it's perfect. "I can't take this," Johnny says, but his hands are already reaching for it. "It's too valuable. It's amazing." "It's yours," I say firmly. "Consider it payment for your company. And maybe," I lean in conspiratorially, "maybe those bullies will think twice before bothering you again." Johnny takes the mask with reverent hands, turns it over, studying every detail. The grain of the wood, the precision of the carving, the weight of centuries in his palms. "Thank you," he whispers. "Thank you so much. I'll take really good care of it." "I know you will. Now try it on." He hesitates, then lifts it to his face. The moment it touches his skin, I see the magic take hold. His small frame seems to expand, to become more solid. Shadows gather around him, not threatening but imposing. His eyes behind the mask glow faintly green. The cardboard armor suddenly looks like ancient plate mail. The wooden sword could cut through stone. A couple walking past stops dead. The woman gasps, "Oh my God, that costume! That's incredible! How did you do that?" Johnny stands taller, his voice deeper when he speaks. It's magic." And in that moment, it is. We continue our rounds. Now, everywhere we go, people stop to stare. Children point. Adults pull out phones to take pictures. Johnny walks differently, head high, shoulders back. The mask has given him confidence, but I suspect it's more than magic. Sometimes all we need is to see ourselves differently to become different. At one house, a group of kids who were about to cut in front of him in line immediately step back when they see the mask. Johnny doesn't push past them. He waits his turn, polite as always. But they give him space, respect, something he's never had before. "This is amazing," he tells me as we walk away. "I feel like I could do anything, like nothing can touch me." That statement worries me, but I don't voice my concern. Let him have this. Let him have one night where he feels invincible. By 10:15, we've circled back toward where I first found him. The streets are emptying now. Younger children have been called home. The night belongs to teenagers and adults in various states of sobriety. Johnny yawns behind his mask. I should probably head home soon. Mom's shift ends at 11, and she gets worried if I'm not there. I nod, ignoring the strange reluctance I feel. 3 hours. I've known this boy for 3 hours, and somehow that feels simultaneously too long and not nearly enough. "I'll walk you," I offer. "It's okay. I only live 2 blocks from here." He adjusts the mask, which has become slightly askew. "Besides, with this, I'm not scared of anything." There it is. That statement that makes my ancient instincts prickle. Pride before a fall. Confidence that blinds us to danger. But he's looking at me with such gratitude, such joy, that I can't bring myself to push. "Keep the mask," I say. "It's yours." But Johnny? I wait until he meets my eyes, or at least the hollow eyes of the wooden mask meet mine. The mask gives you courage, but the courage was always there, inside you. Don't forget that. He nods, serious despite the fearsome face he's wearing. Then he does something unexpected. He hugs me, quick and fierce, his small arms barely reaching around my torso, the mask pressing against my chest. I freeze. I'm not used to touch that isn't violent, that doesn't involve teeth and claws and screaming. For a moment, I don't know what to do. Then, carefully, as if he might shatter, I pat his shoulder. "Thank you for the best Halloween ever," he says, pulling back. "Maybe I'll see you next year?" "Maybe," I say softly, knowing that in a year I'll likely have moved on. I never stay anywhere longer than a decade. Too many questions otherwise. "Be safe, Sir Knight." He grins behind the mask. I can hear it in his voice. "I will. Good night, friend." And then he's gone, disappearing down the street with his cape fluttering behind him and his bag of candy bouncing against his hip. His small figure, made imposing by magic and shadows, turns the corner and vanishes from sight. I stand there for a moment, feeling something I haven't felt in centuries. Loss, maybe. Or the echo of it. The knowledge that something good has ended and won't come again. I should leave. Find my shelter before dawn. 364 more days until I can walk freely again. But something makes me linger. A prickling at the base of my neck. Instinct honed over 4 millennia of survival. The sense that something is wrong. I turn, scanning the street. That's when I see them. 3 teenagers, older than the children from before. They're half hidden in the shadows of an alley across the street, but my eyes that were made for darkness, see them clearly. One is tall and broad-shouldered, wearing a Letterman jacket with Salem High emblazoned across the back. Another is lean and wiry, nervous energy radiating from him. The third is stocky, thick-armed, the kind who uses his size to intimidate. They're watching the direction Johnny went, watching with the kind of focused intensity that predators have when they've spotted prey. The one in the Letterman jacket says something I can't hear. The other two nod. One of them points down the street, the same direction Johnny walked. My hands clench inside my gloves. Talons press against leather. They're not trick-or-treating. Their hands are empty. No bags. No candy. They're out here for something else. And the way they're looking in Johnny's direction, the way they're moving with purpose. I don't move immediately. Not yet. These three teenagers, Steve Lerner in his Letterman jacket, David Gamble with his nervous energy, Herbert Ryder with his thick arms, they're tracking Johnny, and I need to see exactly what they're planning. 4 millennia has taught me patience, even when rage simmers beneath my skin. They follow at a distance, staying in the shadows. Professional, almost. They've done this before. Johnny turns onto Hawthorne Street, still humming to himself. The mask catches the streetlight, making him look imposing even from behind. He's 2 blocks from home. 2 blocks from safety. His mother's scent lingers in the air ahead. Cheap perfume mixed with diner grease and exhaustion. She'll be home from her shift soon. But not soon enough. I spread my wings and glide silently from rooftop to rooftop, keeping pace above. The October wind is cold, carrying the smell of dying leaves and distant rain. Below, the 3 teenagers quicken their pace. They're closing in. Johnny pauses at a corner, adjusting his mask. It's slipped slightly askew, and he carefully pushes it back into place with both hands, his movements reverent. He has no idea he's being followed. No idea that predators are circling. "Hey, kid." Steve's voice cuts through the night. Johnny turns, and I see his body language change immediately. Shoulders tensing, feet shifting into a defensive stance. Instinct recognizing danger. Steve steps into the streetlight, all blonde hair and cruel confidence. "Nice mask. Where'd you get it?" Johnny's hand moves protectively to his face. "A friend gave it to me." "A friend?" David appears from the left side, circling. "That's real generous. Looks expensive. Museum quality." "It is real," Johnny says, pride overriding caution. "A child's mistake. Honesty when lies might save him." Herbert moves in from the right, completing the triangle. His bulk blocks Johnny's escape route toward home. "What else you got in that bag? Looks heavy." I'm perched on the roof of a closed hardware store, every muscle coiled. I should intervene now before this escalates. But something holds me back. Not curiosity, but the need to see their true nature. To witness exactly how far they'll go. To know, with absolute certainty, that what I'm about to do is justified. "It's just candy," Johnny says, backing toward the brick wall of an alley entrance. His voice wavers. "You can have some if you want. I have plenty." There it is, the desperate attempt to appease predators with generosity. I've seen it play out across centuries, in every culture, every language. It never works. They don't want charity. They want power. They want fear. "We don't want some," Steve says, stepping closer. Each word is deliberate, savored. "We want all of it. The candy, the mask, everything." Johnny's hand flies to the mask, protective. "No. The mask was a gift. You can't..." "Can't?" Steve's laugh is sharp. David and Herbert join in. "This poor kid is telling us what we can't do." The word poor hits Johnny visibly. I see him flinch, shame coloring his cheeks even in the dim light. That's the real wound. Not the threat of violence, but the reminder of his poverty, his otherness, his vulnerability. "Just give us the mask and walk away," David says. Almost reasonable. No one has to get hurt. But I know that tone. I've heard it in Akkadian and Latin and 100 dead languages. The lie predators tell before they strike. They've already decided someone will get hurt. They're just deciding how much they'll enjoy it. Johnny makes his choice. He runs, brave and foolish in equal measure. He ducks under Steve's grasping hands and bolts into the alley, cape streaming behind him, candy bag clutched to his chest. For one moment, I think he might make it. The alley connects to another street. He could lose them in the residential maze. but Herbert is deceptively fast for his size. He cuts off the alley exit, blocking it with his bulk. Johnny skids to a stop, spins around and finds Steve and David closing in from behind. Trapped. "Nowhere to run, poor boy," Steve says, and there's genuine pleasure in his voice. This is what he came for. Not candy, not even the mask, the fear, the power, the knowledge that he can take whatever he wants. I should drop down now, end this before blood is spilled. But I'm frozen by a need I don't fully understand. To see their unmasked cruelty, to confirm what I already know in my ancient bones. Johnny backs against the alley wall, surrounded. "Please," he says, voice cracking. "Please just let me go. I won't tell anyone. You can have the candy." "And the mask," Steve says, reaching. "No." Johnny jerks back, hand flying to protect his face. "It was a gift from my friend. It's special. Please don't." Steve's fist drives into Johnny's stomach. Not full force, not yet, but enough to double him over, gasping. The candy bag falls, spilling its contents across the filthy alley floor. Chocolate bars and lollipops scatter across wet pavement. "Steve, man, maybe we should just grab the stuff and go," David says, nervous now. His eyes dart toward the street. Someone might see. "Relax," Steve says. "Everyone's inside. Besides, we're meeting at the forest anyway. Plenty of time." Herbert nods. "Yeah, got 3 more bags of candy from other kids. Meeting us at Gallows Hill in 20 minutes. So they have a plan. A meeting place. They've been doing this all night. Terrorizing children, stealing their candy, their joy. This isn't impulse. This is systematic cruelty." Steve grabs the mask, yanking it off Johnny's face with brutal force. The magical glamour dissipates immediately. Johnny shrinks back to his normal size. The shadows retreat. The cardboard armor looks shabby and pathetic again. "Nice," Steve says, examining the mask. "Real antique. This is mine now." He tosses it carelessly to David, who catches it and shoves it into his jacket. Then Steve turns back to Johnny, and I see the shift in his expression. From greed to something darker. "You know what? I don't like kids who don't know their place," Steve says. "You need a reminder of where you belong." Johnny tries to run one more time. Herbert catches him by the cape, and the fabric tears completely away. Johnny stumbles forward, and Steve is there, shoving him hard against the brick wall. The sound of Johnny's head hitting brick echoes through the alley. Sharp, wet, sickening. Johnny slides down the wall, eyes unfocused, a dark line of blood already running from the cut on his forehead. His breathing is shallow, irregular, concussion at minimum, maybe worse. "Come on," Steve says, nudging Johnny's unconscious form with his foot like he's checking a piece of trash. "Let's get to the forest. Got beer waiting and all this candy to count." They laugh, actually laugh, as they walk away, leaving Johnny crumpled against the wall, bleeding and alone. That's when I move. I drop from the roof, landing beside Johnny with barely a sound. My clawed hands, capable of tearing through steel, touch his face with impossible gentleness. I check his pulse, strong. Check his pupils, responsive, if dilated. The cut is bleeding but not deep. "Johnny," I whisper. "Can you hear me?" His eyes flutter open, struggling to focus. "Friend?" His voice is weak, confused. "What happened?" "You fell," I tell him, the lie coming easily. "You need to go home. Can you stand?" With my help, he manages to get to his feet. He's unsteady, leaning heavily on me, one hand pressed to his bleeding forehead. "Home is 2 blocks that way," I tell him, pointing. "Your mother will be there soon. Tell her you fell. Tell her you need a doctor. Can you do that?" He nods weakly, then winces at the movement. "The mask." "I'll get it back," I promise him. "I'll bring it to you, but you need to go home now. Go." He stumbles away, using the wall for support. I watch until he turns the corner, making sure he's heading in the right direction. Then I turn my attention to the scattered candy on the ground, to the torn cape, to the blood on the brick wall. And then I look toward the north, toward Gallows Hill, where 3 teenagers think they're safe, where they think they can celebrate their cruelty over stolen candy and cheap beer. They're wrong. The rage that fills me is ancient and absolute. Not the hot anger of humans that burns quick and dies fast. This is cold fury, calculated and patient. The kind that has watched empires fall and knows that vengeance is a dish best served with absolute certainty. They hurt a child. They hurt my friend. And they laughed about it. I spread my wings and launched myself into the air. Gallows Hill is on the northern edge of Salem, where the city gives way to forest. The name is apt. They hanged witches here during the trials, 300 years ago. The trees are old, twisted things that remember blood and screaming. It's the perfect place for teenagers to drink and cause trouble, far enough from houses that no one hears them. I glide above the streets, following the scent of the 3 teenagers. They're walking now, relaxed, laughing among themselves. Steve has Johnny's candy bag slung over his shoulder. David keeps pulling out the mask to admire it. Herbert is texting someone, probably coordinating with whoever else is meeting them. They have no idea I'm following, no idea what's coming. The forest looms ahead, dark and dense. A hiking trail leads into it, but the teenagers veer off the path almost immediately, pushing through undergrowth toward a clearing I can see from above. There's already a small fire burning there. Someone arrived early to set up. I land in the upper branches of an ancient oak, settling among the shadows to watch and wait. Steve, David, and Herbert emerge into the clearing. 2 other teenagers are already there, a girl with purple hair and a boy with a nose ring. They've started a fire in a metal drum, and there's a cooler presumably full of beer. "Took you long enough," the girl says. "Had to take care of some business," Steve says, dumping Johnny's candy bag on the ground. "Plus whatever you guys got." The other teenagers dump their bags too. 5 bags total, all stolen from children tonight. They start sorting through it, laughing, comparing their hauls like pirates dividing treasure. David pulls out the mask. "Check this out. Real wood. Probably worth a fortune." The girl examines it, turning it over in her hands. "Where'd you get this?" "Some poor kid," Steve says, cracking open a beer. "Taught him a lesson about showing off things he can't afford to lose." They laugh, all 5 of them. Laughing about terrorizing children, about theft, about violence. I've seen enough. I wait until they're settled, until they're relaxed around their fire, passing beer and candy back and forth. Wait until they feel safe. Then I begin. The first thing I do is extinguish their fire. A simple beat of my wings from above, and the flames gutter and die, plunging the clearing into darkness. "What the hell?" Steve stands up, looking around. "Did the wind just—" "I'll get it restarted," Herbert says, pulling out a lighter. I don't give him the chance. I drop a pine cone directly on his head from 40 feet up. Not hard enough to injure, but enough to startle. "Ow. Something hit me." "It's just a pine cone, you baby," the girl says. But there's nervousness in her voice now. I circle above them, silent as death itself, and begin to make sounds. Not words. Not yet. Just sounds. Branches creaking. Leaves rustling. The beat of wings that could be an owl, or could be something much, much worse. "Guys, maybe we should go," the boy with the nose ring says. "This is getting weird." "Don't be such a coward," Steve says, but I can hear the edge in his voice, the first whisper of fear. I drop lower, perching on a branch just at the edge of the clearing, close enough that they could see me if they looked up. But they don't. Humans never look up. I let out a low growl. Long, resonant, inhuman. All 5 of them freeze. "What was that?" David whispers. "Probably just a bear," Steve says, but he doesn't sound convinced. "Bears don't sound like that," the girl says. I growl again, louder this time, and snap a large branch beside me. It falls into the clearing with a crash that makes all 5 of them jump. "Okay, we're leaving," the girl says, grabbing her bag. But I'm not done. Not even close. I drop from the tree, landing in the clearing between them and the path out. The impact cracks branches beneath my feet, and I rise to my full height, wings spread wide, blocking their escape. For one perfect moment, they see me in the moonlight filtering through the trees. Ash-gray skin, eyes that burn like coals, teeth designed for tearing, wings that span the width of the clearing. The girl screams. The boy with the nose ring runs immediately, crashing through the undergrowth in blind panic. smart. They're not the ones I want. But Steve, David, and Herbert, they're frozen in place, trapped between their fire pit and my approach. "Hello, boys," I say, my voice the rumble of an avalanche. "Did you really think you could hurt him and walk away?" What are you?" Steve stammers. "I'm your worst nightmare," I say, taking a step forward. My talons sink into the soft forest floor. "I'm what waits in the dark for people who hurt children. I'm what your ancestors knew to fear." David starts to cry. Herbert backs away slowly, hands raised. But Steve tries to run, tries to push past me toward the path. I'm faster. My tail whips out and wraps around his ankle, yanking him off his feet. He hits the ground hard, the breath knocked out of him. "You're not going anywhere," I tell him. "Not until you learn what it feels like to be helpless, to be afraid, to be prey." I drag him back toward the center of the clearing. David and Herbert watch, paralyzed by terror, as I pin Steve to the ground with one foot on his chest. "You hurt a child tonight," I say, leaning down so Steve can see every horrifying detail of my face. "A 9-year-old boy who did nothing to you. You stole from him. You mocked him. You left him bleeding and unconscious in an alley." I didn't know," Steve gasps. "You didn't care," I correct. "And that's worse." I grab his arm, the right one, the one that pushed Johnny, and twist. Not fast, slow, deliberate, letting him feel every moment as his shoulder joint stretches to its limit and beyond. The pop of dislocation echoes through the forest. Steve's scream follows, high and terrified, the scream of someone who's never truly been hurt before. I release him and turn to David and Herbert. "Your turn." Herbert finally breaks and runs. I let him get 10 feet before I'm on him, tackling him from behind. We hit the ground together, and I hear his ribs crack under my weight. "You held him," I growl in his ear. "You blocked his escape. You made it possible." I grab his right arm and dislocate the shoulder just like I did to Steve. Then I move to his left leg, bending the knee backward until ligaments tear. Herbert's screams join Steve's in the forest night. Somewhere in the distance, I hear the girl and boy still running, their panicked footsteps fading. That leaves David. He's on his knees, the mask clutched in his trembling hands, tears streaming down his face. "Please," he whispers, "please don't hurt me." I walk toward him slowly, savoring his fear. "Give me the mask." He holds it out with shaking hands. I take it carefully, examining it for damage. None, thank the old gods. 4,000 years of history, and it's survived these fools. "You stole this," I tell David, "from a child who treasured it, who was given it as a gift by someone who cared about him." "I'm sorry. No, you're not. Not yet." I grab him by the throat and lift him off the ground. Not squeezing, not yet, just holding him there, letting him feel how easily I could end him. "Look at me," I command. He opens his eyes, and I make sure he sees everything. Every inhuman feature, every impossible detail. I want this image burned into his brain forever. "Every night for the rest of your life," I whisper. "You will remember this moment. You will remember what you did. You will remember what I am. And you will remember that I'm watching." Then I throw him, not toward his friends, but away from them, deeper into the forest. He lands hard, rolls, scrambles to his feet, and runs without looking back. I turn back to Steve and Herbert, both writhing on the ground, clutching their injuries. The purple-haired girl's bag is still here, and the boys. Inside, more stolen candy. Evidence of a night of systematic cruelty. "You're going to lie here," I tell them, "until morning. Until someone finds you. And you're going to tell them you fell. You got drunk and fought each other. You got lost and hurt yourselves. Tell them whatever you want. No one will believe the truth anyway." I lean down close to Steve's face. "But you'll know the truth. And every time you close your eyes, every time you see a shadow, every time you hear something in the dark, you'll wonder if it's me, coming back, watching, waiting." I spread my wings wide, one final display of impossible horror, then launch myself into the air. Their screams follow me up through the canopy, fading as I gain altitude. I glide back toward the residential streets, toward Johnny's house. It's past midnight now, getting close to 1 in the morning. I need to check on him. Need to make sure he made it home safely. The house with peeling paint is easy to find. Through the window, I can see lights on. See Johnny sitting on the couch, his mother beside him, pressing a dishcloth to his forehead. Even from outside, I can see she's crying, scared for her son, angry at whoever hurt him. She stands up, grabs her purse and car keys. They're going to the hospital. Good. He needs to be examined properly, needs x-rays and monitoring. I follow them as they drive through the empty streets to Salem Hospital. Watch as she helps him inside through the emergency room entrance. His arm over her shoulders, her arm around his waist. Then I land on the roof of the parking garage across the street and settle in to wait. The night deepens. The city sleeps. Only the hospital remains lit, a beacon of healing in the darkness. Time passes slowly. I watch windows, track movement, sense Johnny's presence on the second floor. He's being examined. X-rays taken. CT scan ordered. The doctors are thorough, careful, making sure his concussion isn't severe. Around 5 in the morning, I hear sirens in the distance, coming from the direction of Gallows Hill. Someone found the teenagers, forest rangers probably, doing an early morning patrol before the park opens. More ambulances arrive at the hospital. I watch as Steve, David, and Herbert are wheeled in on gurneys, all three still crying, still babbling about monsters and demons. The paramedics look concerned but skeptical. Halloween does strange things to drunk teenagers, they're probably thinking. Police arrive, take statements. The teenagers can't keep their story straight. One says they fought each other, another says they fell. Herbert keeps insisting there was a creature. The purple-haired girl and nose-ring boy are found wandering the streets, refusing to go back to the forest, refusing to explain what happened. No one mentions Johnny. No one mentions stealing candy from children. They're too terrified to admit what they were doing in the forest in the first place. The sun begins to rise, orange and pink painting the eastern sky. My skin starts to prickle, the warning that comes before the burning. Around 5:30, I see movement at the emergency room entrance. Johnny's mother is helping him out, supporting his weight. His forehead is bandaged, his movements slow but steady. The doctors have cleared him. Mild concussion, stitches, but he'll heal. They drive home as dawn breaks fully over Salem. I follow at a distance, staying in the shadows, fighting the increasing discomfort of sunlight on my skin. They arrive back at the house just after 6. Through the window, I watch as she helps him upstairs, tucks him into bed. The mask, still in my possession, belongs back with him, but I can't deliver it now. Not in daylight. Tonight, when darkness falls again. Johnny lies in his bed, eyes closed, breathing steady. Safe. Home. Healing. My skin is burning now. The sun is fully risen. I need to retreat to my shelter, to hide from the daylight that makes movement impossible. But before I go, I make a decision that goes against 4,000 years of survival instinct. I'm not leaving Salem. Not yet. Not until I'm certain Johnny is safe. Not until I've watched over him long enough to know that the teenagers won't retaliate, won't hurt him again. Not until I've returned his mask and seen him smile one more time. It's dangerous. It's foolish. Stories will spread about the creature in the forest. Questions will be asked. But for one night, I had a friend, and I'm not ready to abandon him yet. The sun climbs higher. I dive into the shadows, racing toward my basement refuge on the outskirts of town. My skin smokes where sunlight touches it, but I make it inside, plunging into cool darkness. I lean against the damp stone wall, breathing hard, the mask still clutched carefully in my clawed hands. Tonight, when darkness falls, I'll return the mask. I'll watch over him from outside his window. I'll make sure he's truly okay. Just one more night, just to make sure. Then I'll disappear, as I always do. Alone, as I've always been, But tonight? Tonight, I'll see my friend one last time. Darkness falls again, and I emerge from my refuge. The basement I've claimed is beneath an abandoned factory on the outskirts of Salem. Concrete walls, no windows, perfect shelter from the sun that would otherwise turn my skin to ash. I've spent the day here, motionless, the mask resting carefully beside me, waiting for night. Now the sun has set, and the city awakens into evening. November 1st, the day after Halloween. The streets are quieter now, the decorations looking tired in the fading light. Jack-o'-lanterns sit dark and deflated on porches. Scattered candy wrappers blow down sidewalks like urban tumbleweeds. I spread my wings and take flight, the mask secured carefully inside my coat. The October wind has grown colder, carrying the promise of winter. Below, Salem goes about its evening. Families eating dinner, students doing homework, the world moving forward as if last night never happened. But it did happen. And the evidence is everywhere if you know where to look. I glide over Gallows Hill first. Police tape cordons off the clearing where the teenagers were found. Crime scene investigators spent the day examining the area, taking photographs, collecting evidence. They found the stolen candy, the beer, the disturbed earth where I landed. They're calling it a wild animal attack, possibly a bear, though some are skeptical. Bears don't typically dislocate shoulders or tear knee ligaments with such surgical precision. The newspapers will run stories. Teens injured in Gallows Hill incident. Police investigating forest attack. But the truth, the real truth, will remain buried under rational explanations and official statements. I leave the forest behind and head toward the residential streets. Toward Johnny's house. It's just after 7 when I land on the roof across from his home. Through his bedroom window, I can see him propped up in bed, pillows supporting his back. The bandage on his forehead is fresh and white. His mother sits beside him, reading from a book. Harry Potter, I think, from the cover. Her voice is soft, comforting, maternal. Johnny looks tired but alert. The doctors must have told her to keep him awake for a few more hours, to monitor him for signs of worsening concussion. He's smiling faintly at something in the story, and relief floods through me. He's okay. He's safe. He's healing. I settle into the shadows of the roof, content to watch for now. The mask can wait until later, until his mother leaves him to rest. For now, I just need to see him. Need to confirm with my own eyes that my intervention last night mattered, that saving him was worth the risk. Hours pass. The neighborhood grows quiet. Lights flicker off in surrounding houses as Salem goes to sleep. Around 9:30, Johnny's mother closes the book, kisses his forehead gently, and leaves the room. I hear her footsteps descending the stairs, hear the television turn on below. She's staying close, checking on him regularly, but giving him space to rest. Johnny lies back against his pillows, staring at the ceiling. His hand reaches out to the nightstand, and I see what he's looking for. The mask. But of course it's not there. I have it. His face falls. He touches the empty spot on the nightstand where it should be, and I see tears begin to well in his eyes. Not from pain, from loss. He thinks the mask is gone forever, stolen by the teenagers who hurt him. I can't let him believe that. I glide silently down from my perch and land on the narrow ledge outside his second-floor window. The window is old, the frame slightly warped, and it's open a crack to let in cool night air. I can fit my clawed fingers in the gap, slowly pushing it open wider. The hinges creak softly. Johnny's head turns toward the sound, eyes widening. For a moment, we just look at each other. Boy and monster, and friend and protector. Human and whatever I am. Friend? He whispers, his voice small and uncertain. I nod slowly. Then I reach into my coat and pull out the mask. His whole face transforms. Joy replaces sorrow, hope replaces loss. He tries to sit up quickly, winces, then moves more carefully. You got it back, he breathes. I thought they kept it. I step through the window, carefully, folding my wings tight so I don't knock anything over. His room is small, filled with drawings taped to the walls, action figures on shelves, a life built from imagination and limited resources. It reminds me of my own youth, millennia ago, when I was something different, something less monstrous. I cross to his bed and place the mask gently in his hands. He clutches it immediately, holding it against his chest like a treasure reclaimed. Thank you, he says, looking up at me. There are tears in his eyes now, but happy ones. Thank you so much. This is the most important thing I own. I kneel beside his bed, bringing myself to his level. Up close, I can see the bruising around the bandage, the exhaustion in his eyes, the lingering effects of last night's trauma. How do you feel? I ask quietly, my voice a low rumble that I hope won't carry downstairs. My head hurts, he admits, and I keep getting dizzy. But the doctor said I'll be okay. Mom's been really worried. She keeps asking what happened, who did this to me. But He stops, uncertain. You told her you fell, I supply. He nods. I couldn't tell her the truth. She'd be so scared, and she already works so hard. I didn't want to make things worse, but... He looks at the mask, then back at me. Those boys who hurt me. Did you do something to them? I consider lying. Consider protecting him from the knowledge of what I'm capable of. But he deserves honesty. He's earned it. Yes, I say simply. They're in the hospital. Broken bones, torn ligaments, nothing permanent. But they won't hurt you again. Or anyone else. I made sure of that. I expect fear. Expect him to recoil from the reality of what I am, what I did in his name. Instead, he just nods slowly, processing this. Good, he says finally. They've been mean to a lot of kids. Not just me. Maybe now they'll stop. Maybe, I agree, though I'm less optimistic about human nature. Fear can be a powerful teacher, but some people never learn. Johnny looks at me with those two wise eyes, old beyond his 9 years. Are you going to leave now? Now that you gave me back the mask? The question pierces something in my chest. Truth demands acknowledgement. Yes, I have to. I stayed longer than I should have already. People are asking questions about what happened in the forest, about what hurt those teenagers. If I stay, they'll keep looking. They'll keep investigating. Eventually, they'll find me, and I can't let that happen. Where will you go? Somewhere else. Another city. I'll hide for a year, and then next Halloween, I'll walk the streets again somewhere new. That's how I survive. Will I ever see you again? I want to lie. Want to tell him yes, that we'll meet again someday. But I respect him too much for false hope. Probably not, I say gently. I rarely return to the same place. Too dangerous. Too many people who might remember. He's quiet for a moment, processing this. Then he does something that surprises me. He reaches out and takes my clawed hand in his small, human one. I'm glad I met you, he says. Even for just one night. You made me feel brave. You made me feel like I mattered. Like someone cared. My throat tightens, a sensation I haven't felt in centuries. You do matter, Johnny. Never let anyone tell you otherwise. Your poverty doesn't define you. Your homemade costume doesn't diminish you. You're creative and kind and braver than you know. You said that before, he says with a small smile. About being brave. Because it's true. You stood up to those bullies even when you were scared. You ran when you needed to. You survived. That's courage. He looks down at the mask in his lap, running his fingers over the carved wood. Will the magic work again, if I wear it? I shake my head. The magic only lasts one night, maybe two. Now it's just wood. But it's very old wood. From a very old place. It's still special, even without magic. I don't need the magic, Johnny says. I have the memory. That's better. Wisdom from a 9-year-old. It humbles me. From downstairs, I hear movement. His mother, checking on him. I need to leave before she comes up and sees me. That would cause problems neither of us needs. I have to go, I say, standing. Your mother's coming. Wait. He sits up carefully, still holding the mask. Will you write to me? Or call? Or something? So I know you're okay? I smile, showing too many teeth. But he doesn't flinch. I can't. I'm sorry. No phones, no mail, no digital footprint. That's how I stay hidden. But I'll think of you, Johnny Locke. On every Halloween from now on, wherever I am, I'll remember the brave boy in the homemade night costume who shared his candy with a monster. His eyes water, but he blinks the tears back. I'll remember you too. I'll tell my kids about you someday. About the friend who protected me on Halloween. Tell them I was human, I suggest. I tell them I was just a man in a really good costume. The truth would be too hard to believe anyway. I move toward the window, but he calls out one more time. Wait, I don't even know your name. What should I call you when I tell the story? I pause at the window, one foot on the ledge, wings beginning to unfold. A name. I haven't used my true name in 4,000 years. It's written in a language that no longer exists, in a script that was ancient when Rome was young. But he deserves something. Call me Naram, I say, using a shortened version of my ancient name. It means beloved of the gods, though I doubt any gods love me anymore. I think you're wrong, Johnny says softly. I think the gods loved you enough to put you in that alley last night, to make sure you found me. The faith of children. So pure, so unearned, so precious. Maybe, I say. Goodbye, Johnny. Be safe, be brave, be kind. Goodbye, Naram. I slip through the window just as I hear his mother's footsteps on the stairs. I pull it closed behind me, leaving just the small crack it had before. Then I spread my wings and drop from the ledge, catching the wind, rising up above the rooftops. I circle once, looking down at his window. He's standing now, the mask pressed against the glass, waving. I bank my wings in acknowledgement, the closest I can come to waving back, and then I turn south, toward the city limits, toward wherever I'll hide next. Below, Salem continues its evening, unaware that a monster just said goodbye to his only friend, unaware that something ancient and impossible just chose kindness over hunger, protection over predation. I fly for hours, putting distance between myself and the city, between myself and the boy I can never see again. The night grows colder. The stars wheel overhead, those same stars I watched when they had different names, when humans told different stories about their patterns. Around midnight, I find a new shelter, an abandoned church outside a small town in New Hampshire. The basement is dry, dark, accessible through a broken window. It'll do for a few weeks until I figure out my next move. I settle into the darkness, my wings folded around me like a cloak. The silence is absolute, the isolation complete. This is what I am, what I've always been, alone, apart, other. But for one night, I was more than that. For one night, I was a friend. I close my eyes and let myself remember. Johnny's laughter as we walked through the decorated streets. His joy when the mask made him feel powerful. His gratitude when I returned it. His hand in mine, small and warm and trusting. The memory will sustain me through the coming year. Through 364 more days of loneliness. Through another Halloween in another city where I'll walk among humans pretending to be one of them. Maybe I'll find another child who needs help. Maybe I'll protect another innocent from bullies and predators. Maybe kindness will become a habit instead of an exception. Or maybe Johnny was unique. A once-in-4 millennia confluence of circumstances that reminded me I'm not entirely monstrous. I don't know. I can't predict the future despite my age. But I know this. Somewhere in Salem, Massachusetts, a 9-year-old boy is falling asleep with an ancient mask on his nightstand, and a story no one will believe. He'll grow up carrying that memory. Maybe he'll become an artist, drawing pictures of monsters who protect instead of destroy. Maybe he'll become a writer, telling stories about the friends we find in unexpected places. Or maybe he'll just be a good person. Someone who remembers that a stranger showed him kindness when he needed it most. Someone who passes that kindness forward. That's enough. That has to be enough. The church basement is cold and damp, smelling of mold and old stone. It's nothing like the warmth of Johnny's gratitude, nothing like the joy of his company. But it's safe, and safety is what I need now. I pull my wings tighter, creating a cocoon of leathery membrane around myself. Tomorrow I'll scout the area, find food, establish a routine. I'll disappear into this new place, becoming invisible once again. But tonight? Tonight I let myself remember what it felt like to have a friend. And I smile in the darkness. Alone but not quite lonely. Ancient but not quite forgotten. Because somewhere in Salem, a boy named Johnny Locke is dreaming of knights and monsters and the Halloween when he learned that sometimes the scariest looking creatures are the kindest ones. And that's a memory worth 4,000 years of loneliness. That's a memory worth keeping.